Hello and welcome to Leader Spotlight. My name is Tracy Clark. I'm the Executive Director for the Louisa County Chamber of Commerce. And today I'm excited to introduce you and get to know Jason Holland. He is the Director of Electric Distribution Operation with Dominion Energy. And we've had a little bit of get to know each other time, and I'm excited to introduce. He's a longtime Louisa resident. So Jason, thank you so much for taking time to chat with us today.
Tracy, glad to be here. Thanks for the invitation.
Yeah, you're welcome. Let's start right off with tell us a little bit about your connection to Louisa.
Well, it's a family connection. My grandparents were born and raised here. My parents were born and raised here in the community as well. And I decided to, I guess, continue my roots here as well. So, again, myself, born and raised, been in this Louisa County my entire life, and I don't want to leave. I prefer to commute out because Louisa is such a great town to be a part of, great community. It's just a great environment to be in. So that's why I'm still here.
Yeah, it's a great place to raise a family and lots of things to do. Was there anything in your whether growing up or throughout, high school or career that tied you or put you on the path early to working for Dominion?
A lot of things. Well, it was, of course, we have North Anna Power Plant that's in our community. So that was a big, a big hit for people in the community. That was one thing, one thought in mind. I never migrated to the plant, but my father did work for the utility as well too. So he was a longstanding, used to be Virginia Power, now Dominion Energy. So he was an employee here. So he was one of the reasons why I gravitated to work for Dominion Energy itself. So I'm a child of the company, so been around for
Yeah.
a long time, and that's why I gravitated to this industry.
Yeah, I've noticed in your bio that you've been with them for a really long time. And tell us a little bit about kind of your initial career path, getting started and working with a company like Dominion Energy.
It for me, it really was looking for the right opportunity for me. When I graduated Louisa County High School, it was going to school, determining and trying to figure out what I wanted to do. I think, as we all know, when you get out of high school, it's going to college, determining what the next steps are, and we have a lot of dreams and a lot of aspirations, but they don't always work out. So, of course, I had dreamed to go work for Disney, being an artist and being Disney, but I also that didn't work out for me. So I had to work, different opportunities within Louisa and jobs there, and then commuting to Charlottesville, working for UVA Hospital for some time, and then kind of making a decision that I wanted to go with a company who was longstanding, that was always going to be helpful to the community and be a part of that industry. And my father helped me understand that at the time, Dominion Energy was the place to be. So, make the decision to, transition where I was working and kind of build a career out of it. So that really helped me, drive to that direction. Always hearing about North Anna and the community as well too in Louisa. I had friends and all that worked there and family members that worked there as well too. So understanding that it was a good company to be a part of. So just deciding to make that transition from feedback from people that I knew in the community, people that worked for them, family connections as well too. So it's a lot of different things that helped me get there.
Yeah, well, it sounds one of the things that I'm kind of picking up and maybe reading between the lines. So it sounds a little bit like your career path wasn't, I definitely want to be in power and electric. You had some other interests, but looking in terms of long-term stability, it's almost like your decision to wind up in the power industry was, or environment related, right? So tell me a little bit about once you did decide to work with Dominion Energy, how did you go about finding, you're in a big role now with emergency preparedness and things like that. Did you always have a goal to reach that particular aspect, or was there something else within the company that you were drawn to?
Well, I mean, I always set goals for myself. So always trying to set a goal. So, any job you get in or anything initiative that I take ownership of, I want to be the best at it. Not that I want to be, brag, but I always want to be the best that I can be at it. So, coming into Dominion, I said in my mind, at some point, I want to be the CEO. I want to be the president. That's just things or goals and dreams that we all build out of. But it's really in any position, any opportunity I get, I'm going to give it 110, 115, 120, everything I can get to be the best that I can. And that's really because for many reasons. I want to make my family proud of me. My father at the time was an employee there. I wanted to make him proud of me, and I want to make my kids proud of me. So I want to show them that no matter what changes in my life, like my dream, was to go be an artist and work for Disney. That didn't work out, but guess what? I'm taking this second opportunity and making that my new dream. I'm taking that to the next level and becoming the best I can be there. So after 17 and a half years at Dominion, I think I have grown to a great position that I am now too. A lot of responsibility, some that I never thought I would have in 17 years.
Yeah.
But I definitely appreciate all of it, and I think it's been a very joyful ride as well. So it's all working out for me.
Yeah, definitely. Well, let's talk a little bit about that 17-year career and the path. We do a lot to try to offer tips and advice on, developing your leadership skills and having a path. So, walk us through a little bit, like in the early years of working, were there some pivotal moments or activities or even trainings that you took advantage of that kind of moved the needle for you? Um,
I think there were a lot of it. There's a lot of on the job training. There's a lot of experience gathering from things that you do. For me, it was a lot of books. There are a lot of books out there around leadership. The Monday Morning Leader. There's a lot of things that you can go online and learn from as well too. I think for me, really though, to be completely honest, it's seeing and understanding leaders around you, looking at the leaders in your environment around you. You know what a good leader is. You know what works. You know what doesn't work. I'm sure we've all had a leader in our history that, wow, that was terrible, or wow, this was great. You really gravitate to that leader. I mean, because we all know we don't really leave a job because the job is bad. We leave a bad leader, because you can not like a job, but your leader can be so good that that job feels good. You're glad to see that leader when you come into the job that morning. It makes your day better, and that's always the leader I've always wanted to grow to. So I've taken those skills that I've seen from leaders, whether it's making sure I communicate to those employees or colleagues that are with me. In the morning, I come in and say good morning and have that personal attribute about them. How is your husband? How is your wife? How are the kids? And knowing them by name, understanding, things that have happened in their lives and bringing that into the conversation, not just walking through and ignoring them like I'm the leader and I'm better than you. You're not better than anybody on your team. You are part of a stool that needs that leg to be a part of it. You can't do anything without your team. And it's being humble enough to understand that makes you a good leader. So it's taking those skills that I've learned from bad leaders, good leaders, and molding those into things that work for me. You know, I can't be anybody else but myself, but I also have to understand what type of leader I am, and it's building those skill sets that work best for me.
yeah.
Um, and kind of building those own narratives around what leadership looks like for me.
Yeah. Well, I love to talk to other leaders and hear that, because you're right. Bad leaders can also be an example of what not to do, and you can learn from them as well. I am a big. I read a lot of books, or I participate in those kind of self-awareness, becoming aware of how I deal with things. Are there any particular books or perhaps courses or anything like that that you've participated in, whether it's within Dominion or outside of Dominion, that you feel like has really elevated you or sped up your process in growth?
Um, there's a couple of things, and I'll forgive me remembering exact names of all of them. There is a course that's out there. It's called a 360. So really, it takes a 360 is basically an interview of all of different colleagues in your area that you work with, and they give you a scenario. They give those colleagues a scenario of questions about Jason, essentially, and I get to absorb that feedback when it's done. It's supposed to be candid feedback. How does Jason do at communicating? How does Jason do at task presentation? How does he do at different skill sets that become a leader? And it helps you understand where your strengths and weaknesses are that others perceive out of you, because you can think yourself that you're great at all things, but you need to hear that feedback from others, that candid feedback, to actually grow from that. That 360 definitely helped me along my career. We use another tool at Dominion called Insights training, and it helps you understand what type of leader you are, what type of communicator you are, what are your hot buttons as well too, and it actually helps you understand how to communicate to other team members. So, through my session, my training, I understood that really I'm a people person first. Secondly, I'm a details person. So it's really show me you care was the first, key attribute on my skill set. Then it was give me the details. Below that, it was, part of the team, being part of the team. And below that, it was basically red, be brief, be bright, be gone. So, and all it helps you understand, what are those hot buttons and what different things can trigger you to pull from those different attributes of yourself. So me, that be bright, be brief, be gone, at certain times I am that type of leader because we have a task already, a deadline. It's something that's extremely important. It's something that is around our customers. We don't have time to be hand holding and working through that. We need to do this for our customers to get our power back on, to restore things. So those
Right.
times I'm pulling that aspect of my curriculum, but that's not always the case. So and
Yeah.
those kind of things really help you really understand what people perceive in you and really help understand what your mental leadership style is.
I'm so glad you mentioned that because insights is a core piece to our Leadership Louisa class that we do here, right here in Louisa. So I'm glad you mentioned that and shared that experience because that is definitely a strong aspect of what we're doing. So let's turn a little bit to Dominion and your role at Dominion. And certainly Dominion is a leader in this community. They do so much to support the community and the businesses here in Louisa. Tell us a little bit about kind of your role with them now currently and where that might cross over or have impacts by chance in the Louisa community.
Well, fortunately and unfortunately, has a lot of overlap with the community, Louisa. So currently, I'm the director of operations. I am the leader of our operating centers. Those are our control centers that manage our electric distribution grid. And that's for the state of Virginia and the northernmost part of North Carolina. So that's 2.9 million electric customers that we manage the electrical grid for on a 24/7 operation. Along with that is emergency preparedness. So that is how we prepare for emergencies, how we prepare for crisis events. So, think about, I'll go back to one of the worst storms we had in Louisa time was the winter storm we had about a year or so ago.
Yep.
We got about a foot and a half of heavy, wet snow. That was catastrophic to our electrical system. And I know in Louisa, we have some Rappahannock customers, we have Dominion customers, we also have some Central Virginia Electric customers across our territory, depending on where you are in Louisa. Now, for Dominion as well, that was a huge event for restoration for us because that heavy, wet snow weighs down on lines. It's overhead. It caused a lot of issues. So I was involved with the leadership aspect of ensuring that we get the right people in here quickly, the resources needed to restore that power in a timely fashion. I myself lost power for a week because it was a lot of restoration. And I know some people were unhappy with the timeline of that because it was a long period, but those same folks also could walk up to your road and you could see every tree leaning like this across the road, every tree broken, lines down. It was a major
Yeah.
restoration event for us. And I was responsible for ensuring that we managed all the resources that got in here. So we brought people from many other states in to help manage and restore the power for the county of Louisa, Gordonsville, everyone around us, to ensure that we had what we need to get our lights on as fast as possible. In every storm event, that's my key role is ensuring that my operating centers have the tools they need. We have the right resources, the people that we need, and we're always looking for more people that want to help do that as well too. So that's really the biggest focus that I have on that. On a day-to-day basis, it's managing our electrical grid to make sure that the power stays on for everyone. Because right now we're sitting on this Zoom call and we're having this conversation. But if we lose electrical service, we couldn't have this now. A lot of people are working from home nowadays since the pandemic as well too. So the
Yeah.
importance of electricity, the importance of internet has grown dramatically. So the things we do as a utility are extremely important. The services we provide are extremely important, and we take that as a wholehearted goal and to make sure that we provide the service that our customers need and
Yeah.
reliability around that as well too.
Yeah. So how big is your team? Obviously there's multiple centers.
Mhm.
Um, how big is the team that you work with on a day to day, with oversight that kind of trickles down to grassroots?
So, as we kind of layer it down, I have 7 individuals that report to me. Under them, there are multiple teams, so a total of approximately 375 individuals in my organization that roll up through me. So leaders a little below that, I have managers, I have supervisors that all report up through me to help manage the different areas that we have. We have a center in Northern Virginia, we have a center in Richmond, Virginia, and we have another center that's down in Eastern Virginia, in Norfolk, actually. So between those areas and the primary team that's in Richmond, there's different levels of leadership, different types of leadership, and it's all spread between that area. So it's basically a wheel that has to. You need all of those people together to keep that turning throughout the day.
Yeah, I remember the winter storm for sure. And the work that was being done, that you're exactly right. A lot of people could see the damage, but they couldn't really understand, I think. And that's, knowledge is power, but we don't always know how things work. Can you offer some tips or advice to consumers, whether it's businesses or, individual households? What are some things that they can do to be prepared themselves, but also when crisis happens during storms, or what's some of the stuff that they can do to help keep the power going, like cutting their trees? What are some of those things that can be done?
Yeah, we definitely don't like to tell customers to trim their trees. That's
Okay.
something we do when it's on our lines. We handle that stuff when it's in our area in the right of way. So Dominion will manage that stuff. But it's really just really being safe. So when you see down lines, it's staying away from them. It's communicating and making those calls into our call centers to communicate if there is an issue that you see. And when you lose power, it's really letting us know what's going on, making sure we're aware. We have good visibility to what's going on, but we can't see everything all the time. It's really making sure you have clear lines of communication. The best thing I can say for any customer, or a couple of things, is one, is safety. Be safe. Stay away from any down lines because we don't want anyone to get injured. Communicating when there is an issue, there's an outage, there's a problem, let us know. The more we know, the better we can be to restore that power for you. And the biggest thing too is always listen to the communications that we as Dominion, if you are one of our customers, that you receive from us. We send out communications prior to weather events. We make sure we try to let customers know what's coming, how to be prepared as well. Because there's different preparation tips for the type of storms. If it's a winter storm, it's blankets, it's having water, it's having things like that, making sure you have somewhere
Right.
a fallback plan in case you do lose power. It's understanding where the county is too, where those warming shelters are at, if those things come into play. When it's a thunderstorm or other major tropical storms, a hurricane or something like that, it's a different type of preparation. Some of the things same the same, but you need to make sure phones are charged. You have, your vehicle has enough gas to go if you need to vacate the area. To make sure you have those supplies you need on hand. So, and we do reinforce those messages prior to any events, but the more you can do to be prepared, the better you can. Everyone's going to be. But as far as restoring power, it's letting us know and staying away from the equipment because we'll take care of that. Our teams have the training, the tools, materials, and experience. Don't do anything that could endanger any of our customers, any of our community as well too. We want to make sure everyone stays safe.
Right. I'm curious about the overlap, with emergency. You're handling the best that you can to get the power turned back on. Is there somebody within your team that works with the locality and what we had a whole operations um, group here with fire and police and all of that? Does Dominion have crossover? I mean, do you have representation on those types of groups at the local level for
We
emergency
we
services and stuff?
We do. We do have overlap in both areas. So we have a team in the Emergency Preparedness Center that actually works with all individuals in the municipalities to make sure as we're navigating the restoration event, they have what they need and we're all covered communication wise.
Yeah.
We have a tool that's out there called our municipal portal that allows the municipalities to see where we are with outages, what the restoration looks like, what customers are out in their municipality as well too. We also have our external affairs team, and they work directly with that municipality, the locality to ensure working through my team as well, they have the information they need to restore. We work directly with the Virginia Department of Emergency Management, VDOT. We connect with all those entities to ensure that we have all the information we need across the board to
Right.
restore effectively, because it's a partnership and a restoration event. If roads are closed, trees are blocking roads, we need to get through them. But sometimes there's electricity involved, there's wires involved. So it's always a partnership working with the municipality and emergency management services to ensure we were ready. So
Yeah.
we're always connected when there's a restoration event.
Yeah, well, it that is a big, big role and very critical to so many communities and individuals and businesses. And thank you for everything. I mean, Dominion was a big source of not only trying to get it back quickly, but even I remember seeing them here distributing water and other things to really just support those without power. Tell me a little bit about, I mean, what is your vision in your role for the future? Have you identified or do you have some ideas that you're working on to just improve upon the process or anything like that that you want to share?
I think it's really focused on our employees. I think since the pandemic, a lot has changed on, I guess, expectations. We've got a lot of remote opportunities now too, and being in the office versus working from home. So those things have changed, and the expectations of leaders and employers have changed too. So it's really adapting to that new environment. How can we get more innovative on allowing the flexibility we need for our employees, and also making sure that we show all of our employees how important they are? Because as I said earlier, we can't be successful without our team. We need our team, we need our colleagues, and we need to help, build their morale up so they can be the next leaders in these roles too. Unfortunately, I'll enjoy what I do. I enjoy my job, but I'm not going to be here forever. At some point, I'm going to be able to retire. Got a long way to go, but I'm going to be able to retire too. And I need to prepare the next generation to be able to come up into this role as well too. So part of my job as a leader is to prepare others to take on this role. It's building that pathway and that lifeline for them so they can get here, do what I do, and do it better, actually, to ensure that we provide the services for our customers. And that should be the role of any leader. Not build it so that you're the best at it. You build it so you're great at it, and the next person comes behind you and takes it to the next level.
Yeah. Well, gosh, I have certainly enjoyed speaking with you. You're definitely in a important job and well suited for it. From our conversation, I look forward to watching and seeing more progress with you. Certainly, we'd love to have you involved locally here. As maybe we'll see you at some events or something like that. I've enjoyed your time. Is there anything else that you want to share that maybe we haven't talked about for the benefit of, our community or even our business community, related to working with Dominion or Dominion Power preparedness, anything like that that we haven't talked about?
Not really, but I guess I'll leave with one. I guess my philosophy on leadership, the kind of way I think of leadership, as a little tidbit. As a leader, I personally, and this is kind of Jason's thoughts on how I think about leadership. You think about leadership, you and your team, as going on a trip together, going on a car ride together. As a leader, you need to determine what role you're going to play on that car ride and when you're going to play that role. So at some point, you're going to be the co-pilot, sitting in that passenger seat, helping that team lead to get to that where we need to be, get from point A to point B. You're co-pilot. You're just pointing the direction. You're helping them know where we need to go. You're the one with Google Maps navigating the path for them. Either you're going to be a passenger, you're going to be sitting in the back seat, and you're going to be, are we there yet? Asking questions, but letting them drive the car, letting them get there. You're not giving them advice, but you're not telling them the direction. You're just pointing them in the right direction. Or you're going to be the driver at times. So you're going to be the driver. You're taking the wheel. You're leading the ship where it needs to be. So it all depends on what point in time and when you need to be to play that role as a leader. But you shouldn't always be that one. You need to determine when and where you play that role. And that helps your team, because it helps you at some point. You need to lead them and get them off to the right path. Sometimes you need to give them direction. Sometimes you need to sit back and let them lead. That empowers them. So it's determining, understanding what type of leadership style and when you play. And that little analogy I use helps me understand what role I need to play. Okay, this is a brand new experience for my team. I need to drive for a little while. Let me take the wheel. Okay, I think my team has it, but they still need a little bit of guidance. Let me get in the passenger seat and be the co-pilot. And then again, when I'm the passenger, I step to the back. Okay, my team's got it. Let me just watch and ask a few questions. Are we there yet? Are we there yet? How much longer? So kind of being worrisome in the background, but helping them know where we need to be. So
I
that's
love
kind of
that
my
analogy.
philosophy.
Yeah, that is great. That's a perfect way to end this. I really appreciate you sharing that because I'm listening and I'm like, oh, yeah, that's a great way to think about it. You're not always driving the vehicle. You have other positions in the car. That's great. Thank you so much. I've really enjoyed our time and I appreciate you taking the time to share. And with that, I'm just going to say thank you and remind everybody that Dominion Energy is an executive member of the Louisa Chamber of Commerce. You can find out information how to get in touch with them on our website, louisachamber.org. And it sounds like there's some opportunity. If you're looking for opportunity of employment, there's some opportunity and we can get you connected with that. So with that, thank you, everybody. Have a great day.